No engines, no steel cranes, no electricity. And yet cities rose. Walls stretched for miles. Stones weighing tons were lifted, aligned, and locked into place with astonishing precision. Long before machines, humanity built cities that still stand today. The question is not what they built, but how. Thousands of years ago, the world's first cities emerged along rivers, coastlines, and fertile plains. Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, China, Mesoamerica. These were not scattered villages. They were organized urban centers with streets, drainage systems, storage facilities, temples, and administrative buildings. Without engines or automation, construction depended entirely on human muscle, animal power, and an intimate understanding of materials. Stone, mud brick, timber, and clay were shaped using simple tools, chisels, wooden sleds, ropes, levers, and fire. But tools alone did not build cities. What truly powered ancient construction was organization. Labor was scheduled with the seasons. Food was stockpiled. Workers were housed, trained, and managed. Cities were built not by individuals, but by societies working as a single machine. The foundation of every ancient city began with geography. Builders chose locations that minimized effort and maximized survival near rivers for transport, fertile land for food, and natural elevations for defense. The landscape itself became part of the engineering solution. Materials were sourced locally whenever possible. In Mesopotamia, stone was rare, so cities were built from mud brick sun dried, lightweight, and endlessly replaceable. In Egypt, limestone and granite were abundant, and the Nile became a natural conveyor belt, floating massive stone blocks directly to construction sites. Without cranes, lifting relied on physics. Ramps long, gradual slopes of earth and rubble allowed workers to drag stones upward using sleds and ropes. Archaeological evidence suggests that water was poured onto sand to reduce friction, making it easier to move heavy loads. Levers multiplied human strength. Counterweights balanced mass. Wooden scaffolding provided temporary support. Nothing was rushed. Construction timelines stretched across decades, sometimes centuries, with knowledge passed from one generation to the next. Urban planning was not chaotic. In the Indus Valley, cities like Mohenjo-daro were laid out on precise grids, with standardized bricks and advanced drainage systems hidden beneath streets. This level of uniformity required strict measurement systems and centralized control proof that abstract planning existed long before blueprints. In ancient China, rammed earth construction allowed massive walls and platforms to be built by compressing layers of soil into stone-hard structures. The Great Wall's earliest sections were not stone but earth, shaped by patience and repetition. Religion and power played a crucial role. Temples, pyramids, and palaces were not just buildings, they were symbols. Belief systems motivated labor on an enormous scale. When people believed they were building for gods, ancestors, or eternal legacy, endurance replaced efficiency. Labor itself was diverse. Contrary to popular myths, many workers were not slaves, but paid laborers. Farmers working during off seasons, skilled artisans, engineers, and supervisors. Entire economies revolved around construction projects, feeding workers, supplying tools, and maintaining order. Every stone placed was the result of countless human decisions, angles measured by sight, alignment guided by stars, proportions determined by sacred geometry. Mistakes were corrected by dismantling and rebuilding, not by recalculation software. Ancient cities were not built quickly. They were grown layer by layer through time, ritual, and repetition. The impact of these machineless cities was profound. They enabled trade, governance, writing, law, and culture to flourish. Infrastructure like roads, canals, and sewers transformed daily life, improving sanitation, security, and social organization. Many ancient techniques remain unmatched in durability. Roman concrete still hardens underwater. Egyptian stone joints remain tighter than modern masonry. Some ancient cities were so well designed that modern urban planners still study them. These cities prove that technology is not defined by machines, but by knowledge. Engineering existed before engines. Systems thinking existed before computers. Humanity learned to shape the world using observation, cooperation, and time. When we look at ancient cities today, we see ruins. But in their time, they were alive, filled with sound, movement, and purpose. Every wall was built by hands. Every street walked into existence. Every city was a collective act of imagination made real. In an age obsessed with speed and automation, these cities remind us of something essential. Progress is not only about tools, it is about people. And long before machines, humanity already knew how to build forever. Behind every ancient city was not just engineering, but endurance. Construction sites were alive with rhythm. Footsteps on packed earth, stones scraping against wood, shouted commands echoing across unfinished plazas. Without motors, the human body became the engine. Workers were organized into teams with specific roles. Some quarried stone. Others shaped blocks. Some transported materials, while specialists focused solely on alignment and finishing. Skilled craftsmen, masons, carpenters, surveyors held status, passing their knowledge through apprenticeships rather than written manuals. Time itself was a tool. Cities were often built in phases, expanding outward as populations grew. A temple might take decades, begun by one ruler and completed by another. Foundations were laid with the assumption that builders might never see the finished structure. Precision came from observation, not instruments. Shadows measured angles. Stars aligned streets and temples. In Egypt and Mesoamerica, entire cities were oriented to solstices and equinoxes, embedding astronomy directly into urban design. This required not only technical understanding, but patience across generations. Transportation posed one of the greatest challenges. Without wheels suitable for heavy loads, civilizations relied on sleds, rollers, canals, and rivers. The Nile, the Tigris, the Euphrates, and the Indus became natural highways, reducing friction and distance. Entire city layouts adapted to water access because moving materials over land was so costly. Failures were common and instructive. Walls collapsed, foundations shifted, floods destroyed neighborhoods. But ancient builders adapted, reinforcing structures, elevating platforms, and redesigning drainage. Cities evolved through trial and error, becoming more resilient over time. Perhaps most remarkable was scale without speed. Modern megaprojects prioritize efficiency. Ancient cities prioritized permanence. Stones were placed carefully, knowing removal would be nearly impossible. Mortar was optional. Gravity and precision did the work. In this way, ancient cities were not rushed into existence. They were negotiated with nature, with labor, and with time itself. As cities grew, their architecture became a language of power. Height signaled authority. Walls defined identity. Monumental structures were designed to be seen from afar, not just as shelter, but as statements. Rulers understood that construction unified people. Large building projects stabilized societies by providing work, food distribution, and shared purpose. Cities became physical proof of legitimacy. If a ruler could build, they could rule. This symbolic function explains why so many ancient cities invested immense resources into non-utilitarian structures. Pyramids, ziggurats, ceremonial plazas, and vast staircases were not practical, but they were persuasive. They told citizens and rivals alike that this civilization was organized, capable, and eternal. Urban centers also became hubs of innovation. As populations concentrated, ideas traveled faster. Writing systems evolved to manage labor and resources. Mathematics improved to calculate materials. Bureaucracy emerged because cities demanded coordination. In this sense, Ancient cities were not just built without machines, they built the foundations of civilization itself. Today, machines dominate construction. Speed defines success. But ancient cities ask a different question. What lasts? Many modern buildings are designed for decades. Ancient cities were designed for forever. Their builders accepted slowness, imperfection, and human limitation and worked within it. What we call primitive was often sophisticated restraint. Builders knew when not to fight nature. They shaped cities to climate, terrain, and culture. Sustainability was not a trend, it was survival. When we walk among ancient ruins, we are not seeing failure, we are seeing endurance. These cities outlived their builders, their rulers, even their civilizations. They remind us that technology is not only metal and machines, it is cooperation. It is memory. It is the willingness to build something you may never finish, for people you will never meet. And perhaps that is the greatest machine humanity ever created.